Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Swami Jyotirmayananda Society, our journey to self realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings and to enjoy daily satsang. We are currently exploring Srimad Bhagavad Gita, commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. We are currently on chapter number 16, Deva Sura Sampatti Vibhag Yoga, the divine and the demoniac qualities yoga, and today we are starting from shloka number 16. So Lord continues, aneka chitta vibhranta mohajala samavrita prasakta kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chau. Confused because of many evil desires, entangled by the snares of infatuation, intensely craving for the gratification of the senses, they fall into a foul hell. Very sad, but very true. Sad shloka, because the demoniac people, while they are doing cruel deeds and while they are living an unfettered life, they don't realize the consequences or the price they will have to pay later on. And so, this is where God is saying not only do they get entangled in the cycles of life and death, in the cycle of reincarnation, but also after their death they have to account for their actions, for living in God's world and treating it as their own, and all the wrong things they have done to hurt people. So very profound shloka. This is why we spiritual aspirants should lead a pure, ethical, healthy life and be concerned about others and be filled with compassion, etc. That's why God first gave us the divine qualities. Now he is explaining the demoniac ones. So he continues, Atma Sambhavitah Stabdha Dhanamana Madanvitah Yajante Nama Yagyeste Dambhena Vidhi Purvakam, holding themselves adorable in their own eyes, devoid of humility, intoxicated with wealth and pride, they perform yajnas in name only, for the sake of ostentation, without observing the scriptural injunctions. So these are the people who only care about their own selfish interests, their own needs. They are not humble at all. They are full of pride and arrogance, and they are puffed up with pride, and if they have wealth they are using it for showing others, and they perform yajnas or sacrifices only at the superficial surface level, and also to glorify their own personal glory, so people can say, look at that, how glorious, how many good things, how were there to eat, and such glorious opulence. So even that goodness is only to get glory from others, and they do not follow the scriptures, and they do not sit with faith, and that is all the these are all the qualifications of demoniac people. He continues, Lord Krishna is not done. As you can see, there are so many negative qualities that people have, and so few. In the good qualities he said a few and then he was done, but with the negative qualities he keeps on going, because that's where most of the world is stuck at, in rajas and tamas. So God, out of compassion, is giving this list so people can understand, and while they are alive, have the possibility of changing the direction of their life. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham cha samshritaah mamatmarap desheshu pradvishanto ambhayasuyakaah, ever addicted to egoism, force, conceit, lust, and anger, they hate me, me being God Himself, who abides in their bodies as well as in the bodies of others, and are full of maliciousness. See what a beautiful thing God is saying. I am giving you breath, I in your body and circulating your blood, digesting your food, doing everything, and yet you fail to recognize me, you criticize me, and you hate me. You say God doesn't exist, there is no, and they become an atheist, and they are addicted to their own pride, their own ego, their own lust, and they are full of conceit, and therefore they are always doing things with cunning intentions, malicious intentions. So this is very sad indeed, but these are the signs of demoniac people, people who are coming from hell, and who, some of them have their nature, some in this world become like that, because we are free to do karma, good or bad. So therefore God is guiding us, so we cannot say we were not aware of God. He's saying this is why he's giving us every possible angle of how to change our lives. Shloka number 19. तानहं द्विषतः क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् क्षिपायज्ञ श्रमशुभाना सुरीशस्येव योनिषु. These cruel haters of myself, the worst among men, who are involved in sinful deeds, I hurl them into demoniac wombs. So God is again not taking revenge. He's not being angry at them. He is simply following the law of action and reaction. They are being held accountable for the wrong deeds that they did while they thought they were succeeding and nobody else was looking at them. So first of all, not acknowledging God is the biggest crime. It's like enjoying the earth, the water, the fire, the air, the ether, everything that belongs to God, and claiming it to be your property, and then on top of that saying God doesn't exist and using deluded means and doing sinful actions. They are all demoniac actions, and therefore God hurls them into demoniac wombs, and that means it's a painful process, and every soul is held accountable. The good people who have done good actions, needless to say, are evolved into better situations, better embodiments, and more comfortable surroundings, and so on. And those who are liberated are the best, because then they merge into God with no more birth and death. And that is the whole focus of our non-profit Swami Jyotirmayananda Society, journey to self-realization. Because once you realize the self, that means you get enlightened, you get liberated. In this very life, you unite yourself with God. Death becomes a simple, joyful, playful activity where just like you sleep, you look forward to it. Similarly, when death will come, you will look forward to it as a simple, peaceful, loving transition. But only to those who have lived their life in purity, sattva, dedication to God, doing the virtuous qualities, following divine qualities, not the demoniac ones. Those are the aspirants who have nothing to worry about at the time of death. So, Lord continues, Asurim yonimam padna mura janmani janmani mama prapyaiva kaunteya tato yantyadhamam gatim. O son of Kunti, O Arjuna, having entered into demoniac wombs, deluded birth after birth, unable to attain me, they continue to fall into lower life forms. So God is giving us a preview of what is expected to happen to them, what they will go through after their bad actions end. So in a way, this is like a compassionate warning call from God for those who are engaged in these behaviors to wake up and also to guide the virtuous not to fall into the trap of these things. So he says, "Oh Arjuna, because you are divine, I'm letting you know of what to avoid and how to avoid these qualities of people who are doing these things." So these demoniac souls, they are deluded birth after birth, which means they get into this endless cycle of pain, and thus they are born as sometimes as lower species, sometimes as very uncomfortable human species, and so on. But they continue to struggle and suffer, and they continue to fall into lower life forms. Lower life forms is actually a demotion, because human life form is the highest. In this form we can attain God, we can attain liberation, we can attain total peace and serenity. Or if we abuse it with people with demoniac qualities, we get demoted into lower life forms, being an alligator or a tiger or some violent animal, or some other lower form like an insect or a snake or a plant, etc. Those things are very much possible through our nature, what we have done, and then it's too late for us to change our mind. We will have to pay the price of the consequence of our action, and then we will continue to evolve through different life forms slowly. That is the deeper meaning of the shloka. Shloka 21, God continues, Trividham narakasyedam dwaram nashanamaatmanaha kamaha krodastha lobham smade tatrayam tyajet. Now God is with compassionate and loving nature giving us a very important direction. He says there are three gates to hell, which are the destroyers of the soul, and they are lust, anger, and greed. These three must be renounced. So God mentioned so many demoniac qualities that we have covered over the last few days. So here he is saying, but out of all those, out of compassion, God is saying, if you can stay away from lust, anger, and greed, kam, krodh, lobha, these three are the uh, like the heads of the snake. So if you can avoid those poison fangs, you will be okay. And these three, but they have to be renounced for sure, because in lust, when we are in a passionate state, many wrong things occur, and we do many crimes, etc. And when anger comes, same thing. Sometimes when the anger is uncontrollable, lots of sometimes loss of life can occur by uncontrolled bouts. And greed, as we all know, is endless, and it causes misery to many people, it causes harm to many people. Stealing somebody's property that doesn't belong to you is greed, and that greed is becomes sinful. So therefore lust, anger, and greed are three that must always be renounced. So with this we conclude our satsang for today. We will continue from shloka number 22 in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda Saraswati. Hari Om Tat Sat.